ko abe dina le tema wonde because kuma sulla fam fango nin ata misal fe ko min dina fulol men yala ko be banko kanya nimbe murta na karandro kan tonya do min te fotala nyinto ngol da nyakala jefa in ko banta ban kabirin bara asekeno maybe kule be kerin mi yala ko dole bala kudo ke kan ani menyen na kele manje kele wala mfutande jantro unfortunately so bara kata nyawnya amu fenate me yalon ko musu dantan wala karamto din dantan ne lel yaje ko ila hako ni na kari la hako la hako me bedeni la dino taman ni nyala modol le fly na kari yaje ko ila hako ni na karsala woto wakan nako ibita luwa la nyatli wala pour luwa se la foye muna nyan nakaka anu muna nyan nakaka fo ye menkela ke ku tala ba wala faman ke ku anu ngamara no kata wonto wodun ten kasiti abuka kasiti fana dole manche kafu dina nin dina tema problem la manche wote ne me yalon ko mu hakole na karta je modole la hakona karta bay dolla wala institution dolla men yalon ko ye hakona kari aje ko mbita luwa klinga ko ni solve wodan male so ako am niaje am futala nyim point wala mu modol man fahamro da sata ko dol tono diamo siata je so bar ngaje ko amanjara kelela amanjara sonkola amanjara nyonen na amanjara kanyodo ya ko kono ngana ngadiamu ni maturity ngadiamu ni hakilo hakili mala ngadiamu ni kulu wala pour mbe ñoo faham no la ñaadi mbe ñoo karat no la ñaadi ñine mun na hadafo ñite ñine mun na influence programme ñin to comme kunum nimmen be jahan sa bi fana ne wala mutanan men kita na brother soldi Omar Bojang ani ma alhamdulillah kunu we have a very good time nte fango dama I learn a lot from them and I believe that momo fana ila moila the feedback nga menso to nyato jikita ko was very important and it was very educative very enlightening as well and then mbela dan fana puru asen tanka fayitandola asen tanka fanjew fana la asen nanganiyo kala sande because mbenyi meke kan nanganiyo merje wulun kata ala dunyo soto anu man la fi ko adado je mense woti nyambe ala dana prasen tanka wala asa mutan nyambulani mo fana be la moyla nin jawdo be jasem be fana jone jawdo nyala membe nyala bak so janem bena topic ko bonila moni nyatili wala ko ben dalta bena don ka kansa bala fo angale kango surwa kango ani mande ka ko nyimbe kake menti pour nanganiyo menta be timmanol nyaade mo be se fanje mo be se fana so kumo moy fana so mbe programme bundari la Omar Bojanna ay mol konto den nga dum programme kono de je nga Malik den nga topic ko dante den nga commence topic by topic inshallah
alhamdulillah rabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walahum bi ihsan ila midin. Thank you, Lamin, my colleague Mr. Juf. Alhamdulillah, we are back again to continue from where we started yesterday on this national, very important national discussion, geared to finding a lasting solution on the saga of veils to ensure religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence in this country. So I'm saying assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
dama ñëwoon nañ fi def si problème yi hijab boo xamante ni loolu leen ban in some of the schools si Gambia so waxoon nañ lu bari nag lu nga xamante ni mooy history ak li nga xamante ni mooy impact yi education fii ni si Gambia te waxtaan bi yëpp soo gisee ñu ngi koy andi di ko wax nii mooy ne pour ñu gis ñu am a lasting solution boo xam ne ñëpp dinañ si mën a gis suñu boppa ba pare problème du am te li waxtaan rek la is national discussion comme suma gaay niñ ko waxee te emuñ si dara pour castigate or whatsoever as a group inshallah jërëjëf.
Thank you, Malik. Like we said, this is a new special edition on Talk on Hijab, as it is not hidden to anybody. The few students who felt that their right is being violated by a few institutions, they've taken matter to the court. And then, inshallah, this Thursday will be the first hearing at the High Court, inshallah. So, for that being the case, it has sparked a lot of noise, talks. Some people take it personally, some people deal with it with maturity, alhamdulillah. But nonetheless, so many people are talking about it, and then that's why we felt that it is a matter of interest of everybody, and we felt the need that it is important we come platform and enlighten ourselves and our brothers and sisters to know what actually is at hand and how best we can deal with it, and also to tell to because that is important. We have to be truthful in anything that we are doing. Either it is with us or it is against us. We have to tell the truth. This is not a matter or a problem or a fight between two religions, namely Muslim, Islam, and Christianity. It is far from that. These are few students who felt their right are being violated, and they have taken matter to the court. Like I said before in Mandinka, in human society that is civilized, when you have problems like this, the only way, the only place that you can go to is to take to the court and listen to the law, listen to the authorities to decide. You don't have to take it to the street. You don't have to insult. You don't have to be violent. You don't have to be dismantling or tearing down everything in the school. No, but follow the due process of the law and you listen to what the law says. This is how a civilized society does. And I believe that every person who is civilized, everyone who is mature enough would understand, and we will appreciate the fact that there was no violence, but everybody wants to listen to the law. And I believe that anyone who is against this, we will question, why are you against something that is absolutely civilized, that is absolutely matured? That is something that has to be done by every matured, compassionate human being and peace-loving human being. So the topic we have at hand, like we said, is promoting tolerance and peaceful coexistence between the faith. The second topic is the hijab lawsuit, what is at stake, and also the government roles in protecting religious rights and also promoting responsible freedom. We will start from tolerance. As we know, this country, if we get to a point that we want to teach each other tolerance, it is very unfortunate, I can say. We get to a point that is not absolutely desirable, because this country has a very good history of peaceful coexistence between two different faiths, tolerance between two people who belong to different faith groups. We have been here coexisting peacefully, respecting one another's religion. But unfortunately, we got to a point we had to still beautiful ages that passed. And if we don't do this, the direction that we are into is very scary. For that being the case, Omar Bo Islam sees peaceful, collaborative coexistence between people who belong to different religious groups.
Thank you very much, Lamin. I think this is very crucial, looking at tolerance and peaceful coexistence in the Islamic perspective. Definitely, if you look at the Islamic history alone, it would clearly teaches you tolerance and peaceful coexistence. It is natural that people would be different and people belong to different faiths. There is no single society or civilization where every human being in any particular geographical location share the same faith. We always have multi-faith societies. Islam came and found, through legislation, found other religions here and coexisted with them in two different manners. Number one, Islam coexisted with them when Islam was inferior. Muslims were powerless, they were persecuted, and which led to the migration of the Prophet to Medina. And when he migrated to Medina, an Islamic state was established, and they had the authority, the power, the strength, living with non-Muslims in Medina and giving them their rights, giving them their due, respecting the difference. If you read the Medina Charter, Sahifatul Medina, you would see provisions clearly stated that Islam is a religion. Islam is a religion that does not force people or persecute people because they embrace different faith. Now, in doing so, um, no other civilization can teach Islam as far as tolerance is concerned. And Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam have taught us um, how we should be tolerated, how we should others. Although with limitations, this must be respected. Now, coming to the point of tolerance, tolerance is key, especially in our today's generation, because this is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then others are Muslims and others are non-Muslims. It is stated in the Quran that if Allah had wished or had will, He could have made all of us one ummah. If He had will, He could have made all of us Muslims and Christians. But through His wisdom, we are different as far as faith is concerned. And that diversity must be managed and must be respected. Now, the dynamics of tolerance is different based on principles of the teachings of religion, of any religion, being Islam or Christianity. There are rules as far as tolerance is concerned. Tolerance does not mean you accept or embrace other person's faith, but it simply means giving people space and giving them the right to be able to practice their faith, what they believe in, based on respect, based on respect, mutual respect, based on the teachings of religions or both faiths. This is very important. We can coexist once we respect you to practice your religion the way your scriptures instruct, without infringing onto my rights. And I also should allow you to practice your religion without infringing upon the core values of my religion. So definitely, if both sides or all sides in any argument respect those principles, therefore we do have what we call tolerance. But tolerance cannot be a one-sided issue, whereby only one party is asked to be tolerant and the other party is not tolerant. It does not work like that. So the situation that we have, I think we'll come to that. As far as Islam is concerned, Lamin, Islam promotes tolerance, and this has been manifested in the historical evolution of Islam, and it has been also manifested in our Gambia, in this country. If you look at the religious demography in this country, definitely, it's an overwhelmingly Muslim majority country. And well, if you look at how things are going, if you look at how the country is administered, although this, but you see, a lot of things are to the disadvantages of Muslims based on their values, but they tend to tolerate that. So they tend to allow others, even the minority, to be able to coexist with them. That we all belong to this land and we all have rights on this land. So as far as Islam is concerned, I mean, we cannot exhaust Islam's point on tolerance because it has brought many things. Even the current Marker Charter, allows people to coexist with different religious denominations based on the principles of their religions, and they live in peace. So basically, I mean, as far as Islam is concerned.
Thank you very much, Omar. These are very important points, and it's important we talk about this. Like I said before, tolerance and peaceful coexistence is something that the Gambia is proud of, and we can be a sample in the globe. Yeah, like you said, if you look at the religious demographics, the margin there is so big. But despite that, I cannot remember if we have any major issue here between the two faiths. I cannot remember. If it has, I cannot remember. A major issue, I mean. So that tells us that people in this country absolutely are tolerating one another. And if you go back to the history as well, you reflect on how people were living here, especially in areas where you have quite a number of Christians in a community overwhelmingly occupied by the Muslims. You tend to realize, or you tend to appreciate that Gambianness, that love that was existent between the two faith. So that is very important. So I will come to Malik. I know you have a lot to say. So you can also take us to tolerance. What do you see tolerance? What does it mean to you?
Yeah,
What kind of message do you have to share there so that people will tolerate each other? People will, give space to one another, give chance to one another despite the difference we have in our faith.
jërëjëf
In Wolof,
Lamin.
right?
Jërëjëf
Good.
Lamin. Maa ngi jaajëfal tamit Omar Bojang moom tamit ñëw yóbbu nañu si Islam on si tolerance dafa important comme last time li last programme bi li nga wax fundamental mooy ne literacy nga mën a read ak write ak to have education du benn. It's completely different because ñun dafa mel ni ñun xamuñ la mooy tolerance in general we don't know it dañ ko misplace. So comme kii wax na ko fi so dama bëggoon highlight on the societal obligation comme social obligation loolu dafa mooy ne comme sa moromi even though bokku leen religion sax su feebaree nga dem seeti ko loolu societal obligation la loolu noonu social obligation la loolu has nothing to do with donte sax suñ religion sax promote na loolu noonu but suñ koy classify daa fekk ne loolu noonu is a societal obligation waaye loolu mu ngi xew Gambia loolu mu ngi am Gambia soo gisee chrétien ak muslim si su xew amee ñu ngi demalante si xew yi su problème amee ñu ngi obligation leera yoo xam ni dañ ko war a respect soo ne chrétien mu dem si juma dem attend juma mu ne moom mu ngi tolerance so loolu misplace la loolu dafa mel ni tolerance ñu ngi koy misplace loolu nekkul tolerance loolu dafa fekk ne chrétien si boppam dafa xamut lan mooy religious obligation am a Muslim going to the church dem foofu noonu di attend mass or whatsoever du tolerance loolu muslim yi moo xamut religious obligation am loolu dafa misplace tolerance loolu nekkul tolerance loolu ñàkk a xam sa diine la. You cannot go to a choir or whatsoever you are singing, celebrating Christmas or whatsoever Easter, and you say we are tolerant. That's not tolerance. That's lack of knowing your religion. Tolerance mooy ne nga may nit ki mu ngi celebrate Christmas nga may ko space mu celebrate nit ki mu ngi celebrate Easter nga may ko space mu celebrate loolu moo nekk tolerance nit ki mu ngi si school bi nga may ko space mu julli nga may ko space mu def hijab loolu mooy tolerance. Nit ki tam mu ngi si school bi nga may ko space mu jàng Christian religious knowledge nga may ko space su bëggee dem church mu dem church loolu mooy tolerance ku nekk nga mayante space kooku mun a practice religion am comme kii nu nga ko waaye the history of Islam yonent bi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam du dee feyeku soo gisee mu xeex dañ ko attaque te su la attaqué ba win la tamit lu moo def mooy la moo tax ñu ngay joxe tax in non Muslim they give Jesus something like tax and the Muslim give zakah. So tax boobu mooy naka to develop the country, the state which belongs to all of us, and they allow your mosque even in wars in jihad they call it. They don't destroy mosques, they don't destroy church, places of worship. They don't destroy that. That's tolerance. That's like the war is not between even women and us. It's between you and us. Even if you surrender at the middle of the war ends. So if you tolerance na mo duñ ko jàngal muslim yi. I think the center stage of tolerance loolu muslim yi ñoom ñoo ko gën a xam. So dafa important ñu xam loolu tamit. Soo ñëwee si Islam tam am na tam kenn du force ni si diine mooy no compulsion in religion kenn du force ni biir nañ ko si Quran. So kenn du force ni si religion mu ngi si Islam. So Islam knows ne li mën a dem di forcer ay Christian by force pour ñu nekk muslim waaw mu nekk muslim loolu du musa am. So dafa important pour ñu xam ne tolerance nekku ne man dem di naan mburu yi Christian yi in terms of Easter o ñoom ñu ñëw di lekk suma xar whatsoever di celebrate loolu julli jot na maa ngi am Tabaski nga may ma space celebrate yaa ngi am Easter ma may la space tamit yow tamit nga celebrate. Dama doon déglu in a famous TV program one of the pastor mu ne they are saying that he also worried about tolerance. He's also worried that there is no tolerance in Gambia, but center it on the other faith. Like he's not blaming his faith because to him the way he was talking is like his faith is more tolerant, so the other faith is not tolerant. Accordingly, mu ne okay then they want a Christmas su jotee doo dee xamee Gambia bi na Muslim wala Christian leen loolu sa loolu sa dama ne wane loolu sa loolu kenn du ko dee bakko loolu kenn du ko sóobee kenn du ko bakkuwee di wax ne doo dee xamee da nga war a xamee Christian yi ne war a célébrer nga xam ne ñii Christian leen Muslim yi célébrer seen ñu xam ne ñii Muslim leen waaye soo ñu mënta xamee ñu ngi jaxasoo dafa mel ne ñun gëmuñ dara ñun daa ay munaafiq leen gëmuñ dara suñ neexee demee nii suñ neexee demee ne le so it's bad even mu ne waa loolu daf dee am Easter but what happened in between he was concerned. He said now what happened in between now, meaning there are much intolerance that happened in between. So dafa mel ni moom bu mu wax mu ngi ko center to Muslims ñoo gën a intolerance than the other faith te loolu amut so soo ko xoolee ba xool ko soo demee si mission school yi nga waxoon naa la I would drive him back to the history somehow mission schools in 1946 gars yi Christopher Cox ñëwoon na pour ñu boole schools yëpp jox ko government because the mission school could not run their schools dafa seeroon they could not run it and they now put it under the government policies so dafa mel ni mission schools yi most of them were under the government policies bu yàgga since te man dama gis ne lack of tolerance dafa feeñ to the highest level even the ministry so fa demee this problem of hijab ban. How can a school come and give a press release or whatsoever, a statement saying that the councillors, they did it out of their own accord? So a no, the ministries are in their right senses, worrying to no, because that is not a correct statement. Kondafa mani man lawsuit bisa, ni si material na comme those students who were mentioned that they were the councillors and those students know them, they should be taken to court also. Those students, when they are taken to court, they will now say, no, it's not us. Yesterday, my one on live on other Facebook on other media platform, a former St. Peter's councillor, the prefect, the school rules, there is nothing like do-veil. There is nothing like you will not do the veil. But they were using them, the Muslims, to go to their Muslim sisters to tell them to remove the veil or don't pray here. So he refused. He refused to do that, but they will force him to go and do that. Because if they force their Christian people, it's just like a war. But now they will push the Muslim brothers to go and tell these people, don't pray here and don't wear the hijab. Now I ask, who is more intolerant than the other? Even though Sinfek and Ganye debate on Nusrat and other schools, I still hold the belief that is incorrect. From Nusrat perspective, it's very wrong that the Nusrat, for Christian students, don't provide Christian religious knowledge. So Kuneka is school now providing Christian religious knowledge, and you are okay with it. You are quiet. You are, that's fine. But if you complain, we will stand for you. Because the ministry knows it. Ministry don't want to harm you. Why so complaining? But we are not okay with not allowing our Muslim sisters to do the hijab. We are not okay with banning them not to pray in the school premises. We are not okay with that. So therefore, if they complain, we support them. So that is a form of intolerance may happen. But many people come online and start saying, "Man, papa Christian la, man Muslim la, some moms are Christian la, some have family." That is your own family. Lolo has nothing to do with tolerance. Lolo, it's blood relationship. Even the blood relationship that don't allow, you hate your own relative. So therefore, low tolerance. We have friends that are Christian. We have no problem with them. Our societal obligation, our social life is there, is intact. What we are talking about is being intolerant by using the institutions as a form of power to suppress Muslims. Lola nyowa te lolu suñ ko allowé rek, then they will be tolerant. But as far as they don't allow that, that is intolerance. So intolerance tolerance.
Thank you very much. This is a very important discussion, and then it is good that we also clear some misconceptions, just like you both did. The fact that I go to your church when I am a Muslim, and I have to be a practicing Muslim. So going to your church doesn't mean that I am tolerant. If that is what tolerance means, I have never seen that anywhere. Tolerance means, just like you said, even if there is a form of acceptance of humanity, so seeing someone as a human being, you respect him as a human. But like, okay, we all go to church when this happened. We all go to the mosque with that. No. You both believe in different things. So what is the essence of you believing, you being a Muslim or you being a Christian? You believe in something and you have to stand for that thing. You cannot be believing in two different systems and you want to be practicing two different things. It cannot happen. You have to be who you are and you allow your brother to be who he is or she is. Giving each other chance to practice what our faith dictates. I think this is the best form of tolerance. But it's quite, even if, for example, let's say, for example, okay, when it's time for those days, when it's time for Christmas, we go to church. When it's time for this, we all go to mosque or we all go to Gamo. Even Gamo is not part of our religion, though. It's something that people do. And it almost sounds like a religious thing. But actually, if you go to the Islamic culture, the root of Islam, you will not find it there. Okay, if you have that ability, you are able to attend me to the church. You are able to attend my gamo, or you are able to come to my mosque. You are able to come home and chat with me, laugh together, share foods, be smiling at each other, maintain our social relationship, maintain our family ties. If you are able to do that, you are smiling. Anytime we meet, we laugh, we greet each other with love and respect. If you are able to do that, my child go to your school, she wants to pray and you say no, then I will tell you, you are faking. Definitely, that's what I'm going to tell you. I will tell you then when I meet with you, you smile at me, you are faking it. It's not real. It is not real. If you smile at me when we meet, we laugh at each other despite our difference in faith. You come to my home when I have ngente or when I have whatever. You come talk to me. If it is peace, you come together, we celebrate, we pray for each other. We do so something different, maybe funeral or something. You come to me, we show our sorrow to one another. We pray, whatever. We do that. But when place where you have an authority, I want to do just within 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I want to do something. You said no. Then I will tell you, then when you smile at me, it's not real, it's fake. I think this has to be understood. And then, tolerance is not a black and white thing. It's not something that is black and white. Sometimes some people, they will just come like and blah, blah, blah. We have to tolerate, we have to tolerate, we have to tolerate. And then the funny thing is, some of us, like our Muslim brothers, you will see someone coming out, lie about Muslims. Me, Malik, or Lamin, I passing. The way he talks, they will say, no, you have to be tolerant. Islam teaches us to be patient, teach us to be this. Islam is about how we treat one another. My friend, you are just being hypocritical. Because it's just like right now, when I just wake up, I slap you, pa! You wanted to pay back. Umar told your hand and say, Malik, you have to be patient. Islam is about being patient. Islam is about that is how would I even call it? It doesn't make sense. Omar has to stop me first. You shouldn't slap him from the first place. That is wrong. Then from there, he will come to you and ask you to be patient. But you cannot come to Malik straight and say, Malik, no, you have to be patient. Islam teaches us to be patient. Islam teaches us to be patient. Islam teaches us to respect one another, to be forgiving, to be kind, to be this. Where were you when I was slapping Malik? You have to come to me. Tell me the truth. Tell me you shouldn't do that. You don't have to be cruel. You have to respect. After telling me, then you come to Malik and ask Malik to be patient. But unfortunately, people media platforms, they will use whatever platform they have, spread whatever nonsense they want. Sorry for using this. Use whatever platform they have, spread whatever nonsense they want. Sorry for using this. Spread whatever they to say, and rooms and still relax. If one or two imam or brothers just jump in or respond to that person, you will see the hypocrites everywhere. No, we don't have to attack. We don't have to be blah, blah. As if they didn't know that someone started it first. So they are condemning the reactors rather than the actor. So you see how ironic this is. So Omar, we have to delve into Mandinka. And then we highlight the issue of tolerance. Can you kamunya nyoe, ka sabaro ka nyoe, ka nyo allow, ka chance di nyola purunga na dino tamani. No yalam bankole me yalon ko mo kilintante, fenne me yalon ko mbede ninga lale. So kanna ko dal nsafo na luwa fo nyame mole manyo danja. Ay day mo muslimo to wala mo kristiano to mbele tamu jante. Andu ngalon ko mbele fana ka taxi jo nyama fana. So ni mo be kering bu nyame tara nun tema kabir muntuma hansa bek o ngajo silo be je kaje ko sifal bitakan. Bari modol ka damentol coat e kajo ko walla mu kutu nyoye anin ke sabar nyolo wala mu mistake wala ko malaki ya fanyame ni mu muslimo yake kala muslimo ka fengo be accept it's not part of Islam and ni mu Christian be a Christian you cannot be a Christian ika kudo ta me yalo ko ni mo teaching kono you even when wala ngende ko ya mari ala whatever men kana tebula okay you don't have to be part of it if you are part of it that means then there's something that you don't understand ya fam anim fana kudol beje ndalta kake that doesn't make it right idalta kudon ka kudol accept no doesn't make it right when the truth comes it has to be told anun kuma umare point killing ala na ko jam kunu kajo ko mennu karanta mission school ta ning even government school also in 80s or in 70s are totally different from people who studied from 90s 2000 kanana they are totally different ni mari la jibe la orientation in life la orientation in religion is totally different so omo fulo dama jama ni diam dina ko rek la kumul ka clash le buka nyomoy so that is the reality so kan na ko dal kumala ba ke pour nga fo nyoy dino to nin ko tolerance anin ka sinyo ya kendo bulanda maltema ka kutu nyoy ka sabaro ke nyoy anin ka chance di nyola fana ngana dino tamanna jama what do we mean that ningo fo mune for Islam to Umar
yaje muslima ya temu dinol de mialon ko fentije hadamade ya to mialon ko ama address aman diamala kanto muslimi yana da tumare yanke ala kono abatata hada sembo sodo na da mara Rakila alayhi salatu wassalam komin karang history to nyamin kabra sembo ta Madina ay muslime bankolo mol bi yel manki muslimolti bara ni sita kayro kono la ni sita bunyani hormo kono amma mo force pour na la dino kam bara momo tula dino kono le kambe ngolo safe ka homi sahifatul Madina momo la minna ye barala bare kana bulado kasida muslima ya lonta wala nyama dum komi ngak fo nyamin dunia dulati je dami an ko bebe sabatri ngi dina kilene dino ka siya nyoti dulal tole bare o manya dina ko minu dino siya to remi do ada nyindole nyantole siya nyindole nyantole ani be ka nyantole to mi alon ko pour ka banko nyin ka samba nyato odo muslimo ya moti muslimo lo karandila ka karabula nyoy ka jiko ngantara kairo kono nimbo da gani muslimi ala hisnara gambe jam fa mbaji la ko ni ajibi muslimo le siyata jam nimmo bi jam min yalon ko manke muslimo ti bare munyate le nga karabule banko fa la ku jama ka tama nyamin kanto min martan dol la janna min mo colonial masters ti ye banko ni tamand la la to lata minna do lata minno ni to la dino man kilindi kado hanisa ni na constitution jibe bayla ko hanisa wo direction kilimo be jela so bela ku jama ka jim banko ka hanisa ni muslimo yala karandiro jibe ye muslimo yala culture jibe yen dolla ya jibe jama ni muslimo ya manta ani molle tata la nyalan ko man siya bare muslimo do be sabar ngo kan be lori wo kan adunga kuma da fana yaji nin ko ignorant tolerance ani lombalia ani ka karabula nyo man kilindi gamenol dunga ko jakasi nyo ka ko jakasi go ni diam de sa foy ko kunum benun ja nyamin nin gamol sita anata ko gamo manke lasil fendi dula dino kono nin gamol sita bishop kare kana jele ni la fenko christmas o sita na imam ratib kare kata jele ni ista sita ko domoro di nyolale wol be mu fendi di melan ko londo la karola wol manke tolerance wol mu ignorance wol mu lombali halati din londo na da min koyta wol mu fendi melan ko wol manyina mol dun la nyola ninte mu muslimoti muslima ya ko nyeko be nyinni bo la kala ni min manke muslimoti wulta ngol beke akon nyeko bara nyinni to wol kala adun na dino min fanye pour niego ke wala siyata fendanda ne bije min yalan ko tafundula karola kun kana fada wala ngoy ko na dino de asondala ni tara karambon ki ni tara office ki ni business o ke ni do ko ke ma nyola do moro do mo ku jamake yalan ko ada kuldo na muslima ya sondala do mboke kala bare na muslima ya minna tafundula karola na dino ko nyinni de manyino kala ite mari ni modi man ko tolerante e nyanda o accept min kunu min ka kunu akata ja ma ke dino kam ake lombali ala kam odo min ye lon ke bi na ko to nyabe daminde nyin ku de na muslima so ni obe ka ko bari nyin ku de muslima ya man so ni oke odo yenta ni te mari modi man ko tolerante yenta de bunya lo kan inda fa to nyalem de amake anidiala barabe lari minna wala te atandi ko amanya na nyinkira bayna ke ete fa mi ko be dino mu kristianoti ni a fil ko fe on fe mi ko nindi sa ke dino sondala ni kake problème tala ba ñin ko kirim fule be yatande ko ñinde na dino man son pour neoke mu fa ñanti bu ñala o kadne ñinem fendi mi nka fo tolerance so okay ni te ko sayen hana te ko sayen murunta ko min ka fu num be nun nyami ikata naga moto nkatela chojoto nga kulu ni do programme so de nan buru sang ya dinna nga do ni nga programme ngol be ke nyokan nda malbe office kilim be do ko wala nda malbe karambum kilim nda malbe business o kala be koni kilim musul da malbe tego kala wo be jella nyo fe yatandi ko ten acceptable because wo ko le tandi sa nganan dingo kila karambum to ye uniforme min dunje e bajo min gije bajo ni symbole min fon bala ala dino la symbole le mot yo ke dinu muslimo dinu wala mi alam ka man lawla dino man lawla muslimo mam fen fa ko tolerance hana ta ko manyina kala bara sa o muslimo ta do karam modo ako ndefande no muslimo ya yamar pour ngan ko iko ta ko mbil muslimo ya yamar pour nin sawo do ngasle ikata sallaje ete kamine tandi wala ka mi tandi banta ani ka min tandi ko to mangi kilinde so akumat la pour nga tonya fonyo definitely ning ko pour nga tolerance min fo ni la fa ay bamba wala mba practice la adun akumata bakere komin malik ya tambindi nyami amongi kudul bi muslimul ke nyaka sa manke lombale ya o jamano tambita akam da ko kujama bi munyo ba kan komin laftare don kairo sabati nyinati nan ko ndul ngi accept nyami definitely ni to len to accept bo nyama definitely the problem also kandu pour to la dinoli mura amam fendi mi alanga amam fenti nyañu la dino bala amam fenti nyaade amam ngi la dino bala bara abela dino fonko no wala nan ka nyinyi winka hanin tol ni la bengol la christian nyato ngol nte fonka nyinyi winka fo moye kalo dum ayta karam moto atluka kar albe karam mun be maradin karam mun min la fo fenne mi alango ay tinyaro ka la dino bon ko mi ngal tunku la tinyaaje ba bari bi ko fen fonno je kamin fo wala karam mun la loi o don daga conclusion minke o karam mo loi mo le kada ini wala kada o karam mo ita ka fa karam mo loi don daga conclusion mo do christian dino kono fente je ndul nga min be safari dino to ma fo chojo ka min fode bar bible kono mi ya tandi ko musulma ni na kalo dum o tigi ndol maji adu do fara ma fa mo le kandu ndol maji je ngoy maji je adu benda dal mi ana ko mo tanni fembe je sinya man ka nyi nka ba ni nga je fo e kamine fonye school rule fonye so it is important pour nga emphasize in English malo nyaji de yes what I want to add on what Professor Malik highlighted here, it is important for people to understand the difference between ignorance and tolerance. What had been happening in this country is more of ignorance and more detrimental to the Muslims than the other faith. That is the reality. That is the reality. You know, why we belong to different religions, we have to follow the teachings of those religions. And definitely the teachings of religion emphasize tolerance, but with boundaries. There are limits. It must be measured. It must be measured to make sure that the fundamental of the religious teachings are not infringed upon. For example, in Islam, we are allowed to marry Christian women. That's no problem in Islam. We do that. We are allowed to do business with them. It's not a problem. We are allowed to share the same workplace, the same streets, or even the same compounds. No problem with that. And we are doing that. But when it comes to certain things, matters of faith, Aqidah, definitely we are restricted. And this is not thing that we just want to do. It is part of our scriptures. And I believe they must respect that. Muslims, their scriptures allow them to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 things with non-Muslims. And they are doing it. But there are 2 or 3 things that they restrict them. I think every genuine religious person must respect that. And must understand. And the same thing to Muslims also. We should also respect the same thing. The teachings of Christianity, if they hold to the teachings of Christianity and don't want to involve in certain issues with the non-Christians, we must also respect that and allow them to do that. So as Malik said, tolerance is to allow people to do. We are Muslims, they are Christians, and this is very clear. They have their teachings, they have their ways to worship Allah, and they have guidelines. We must respect them and allow them to do that without infringing upon our rights. And the same thing to Muslims also. The same thing to Christians. They should also allow us to practice the core teachings of our Islam. So there must be difference between religious ignorance and tolerance. What had been happening here is not tolerant, it's ignorant. That's why it's not sustainable. That is why the dynamic is changing. You see, what was happening here, if it was based on knowledge and sincerity, the status quo will remain as it is. But why the dynamic is changing? Because it was anchored on ignorance. Now that ignorance is no more there. People are enlightened. People know their religion. And I think, this is important that we know this line. Now, if you tolerate me, that we share, greetings, wishes on occasions, we live together, we do business together, when you have occasions, you provide me food, like, Nanburu, Easter, outwardly, definitely you are showing tolerance. Outwardly, you're showing that tolerance. But my child goes to your school. Your school is not a theology school. You have to understand this thing. There are religious schools and conventional schools. The schools that are run by Christians in this country are not theological schools. These are not schools where they say, okay, we open the schools to teach Christian theology.
I think you are preempting my following questions.
Okay. Then before, that what is important here? Now, my child goes to your school. You accept all what we are doing together in our environment, in our homes, in our markets. We are doing things together. My child goes to school. Your school badge, carries the symbol of your religion. It's different from the belief of my child, and it is on his or her uniform. I did not say anything. Fine. It's tolerance. Although it's another way of tolerance. Then the other thing, now my child said, okay, I want to put on my veil because my religion asked me to put on my veil. You say, no, the school rules say you should not put on veil. My child wants to pray, you say, you will not pray. What type of tolerance are you talking about? It must be holistic.
Sure.
Ignorance is no more around. People are aware. We know what is going on. So if you want to accept me, you have to accept me wholeheartedly. But we believe children, you see, they have to understand one thing. You can only mold children to a civilization when they are young. 12 years in school, the child is deprived from veil, maybe 5 hours, 6 hours on daily basis. After 12 years, that child will not used to that. Definitely. The child is deprived to pray in a school, Zuhur prayer or Asr prayer for 12 years. That child will not use the pen. So we've seen some, subtle attempt to suppress the values of our religion. And these children are not asking more. All what they are asking, just give us our rights. And give us our rights here, they are not directing it to a particular religion. They said anyone who is violating their rights, then Muslims, non-Muslims, and definitely all of us will come together. And in this country, another manifestation of tolerance from Muslims, if a Christian, and definitely all of us will come together. And in this country, another manifestation of tolerance from Muslims, if a Muslim is being attacked and his rights are violated, definitely all Muslims will come out and condemn. Just recently, the alleged church attack, that was not true. But when the news came out, definitely go to the internet. Muslims came out and said, no, this is wrong. Because it is wrong for us. As far as Islam is concerned, we don't judge people because where they belong to, we judge them what they do, their action. But in this country, you hardly see when a Muslim's right is being violated, a non-Muslim comes out to say, no,
It should not happen.
No, only Muslims that normally condemn, but others, even if our rights are violated, which means, they always connive. And to my dismay and astonished, you see, we have agencies here that are known for standing for human rights. like the National Human Rights Council. It's a government institution.
Mhm.
We see them anywhere. Anyone's rights has been violated, they will act. They will release press release. But these girls, minors' rights, fundamental rights have been violated, and they are quite over it. The Child Protection Alliance, they've been known to stand in for children. Some of these things are people are minors. Their rights have been violated. What have they done?
Nothing.
Nothing. So if you want to definitely,
And I remember, I'm not quoting you. I remember when Sheikh Jawara's Dara was burnt.
exactly.
Few children, unfortunately, lost their life.
Yeah.
I see these hypocrites.
Yeah.
I have to use this.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I see these people. I even wrote about this.
Yeah.
CPU, Child Protection
Child
Alliance.
Protection
They
Alliance.
wrote blah blah rubbish as if they were there for these children. They were never there.
They were never there.
The truth is, they were never there for these children until a problem comes. I told them, if we are to be here for each other, we have to be there when things are okay, and we have to be there when things are not okay.
So, this issue, definitely, we need to have a frank discussion. Definitely, if others also feel that their rights have been violated, let them come up. Let them come on board. Definitely, if we realize that their rights, fundamental rights have been violated, we will support them to ensure that their rights are restored. So we know what is happening, and we cannot sustain it. It has to be addressed once and for all. So I think your other questions would.
Good. This is very important. Umar Abarakabake. Now we will go to another topic. That will be the whole issue that we have at hand, which is the hijab lawsuit. Me alon ko wabe dending chitiola me alon ko talibol dantan nembe je mena be karamon dantanto ya joko ila hako me ya soto pour que dino tamandi wo hako nyanga nakartale ali men ya nakari ya joko e bite sama luwa nyaadle luwa chitio tay tema nyim ko nyin mbe diamu kan kantan kanyi membe futron be borom ka dan wala pour jane be futala afama tag. Now lafta pour nga diamu ko la Malik, I will come to you first. This hijab lawsuit, what is your take? How do you see this? What is your opinion regarding this?
Yeah, jërëjëf Lamine ak Amadou am na nag li nga fi wax am na solo lool. Jar naa mata bàyyi xel daal su fekkee ne amuloo benn hatred or what so extra ultra motive ci sa xol. Waaw bi nii xam naa nag comme na wax fekkee ne jàngal muslim yi moom su fekkee ne ay lawyers leen muslim yi seen lawyer yi bëri neen waaye da nga gis ne gisloo benn wala ñëw di yuuxu wala di saaga wala di castigate wala so ñu wax ko na naafi xëy ñoo xamante ni jànguñ xamuñ te ñoom tamit investigate duñ from the muslims sa lay wax ñoo nekk di wax si internet bi just to get more certificate or more badges or more recognition. I know it's part of their job. Like what Cristiano Ronaldo said, the job of the criticism is to criticize. So in criticize doing leg. So they have to criticize, even though activist has to criticize
so that they will survive.
More so the Muslim to survive. Lona denko en nangul gaay rek wa dañoo xam ne they are taking a wrong path. The lawsuit is very very correct. Loo xamante ne loolu dañ si war a sant yàlla ba pare comme loo waxoon démba is very important ne xale yi dañu jàngal ne nu ñoo doxalee réew ak nu ñoo maintainer peace. So loolu la xale yi def dem yóbbu ko si court bi so koo gis otherwise dafa mel ni kon maintainer peace. So loolu la xale yi def dem yóbbu ko si court bi so koo gis otherwise dafa mel ni kon kooku bëggoon jàmm dafa bëggoon protest or what. So di nga gis ne many people are complaining di wax ne lawsuit bi it doesn't tell well. Many people are also complaining of the amount of money levied. Nge complain of the taxpayers' money. Even a former minister of education, nge wax ne taxpayers' money si dañoo fayewaat su fekkee ngay win. Kon kooku mu ngi anticipate somehow because xam ne they are on the wrong side. Though the court sometimes dafa over messy, dafa over sew, doo mën a xam where things will come from. So you condemn this thing. They say it's not correct because of school rules. Tamit is already known by the students. Papare lalagari demate the def lawsuit wala def against this school. Papare the constitution of the Gambia more you may freedom of practice dafa war sax mu ne manifesta daf ko fa yokka kon da nga ko war a manifest so dafa mel ni soo deful hijab you are not manifesting so one way of pray and put on hijab that's how you manifest nekku si xool manifest si xool moom loolu amul njëriñ parce que sooy manifest si xool loolu mooy weakest of faith ni ko Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam mu waxee that's the weakest of faith so first and foremost foog nga manifest ko outwardly wala nga wax ko comme lu ñoo def nii wala nga muñ te ñun na nekkuñ si time muñ te loolu we will never do that sax ma emphasize ko ñun duñ toog fii di muñ we will manifest we will talk muñ moom mooy fekk ñu si mbaamel so da nga gis ne yes da nga gis ne school rules yi comme lu ñu wax ni lawsuit bi dañ ko ban is between now the constitution and the school rules and the ministry mi xam na ne they have been undermining they have been faking also nge fake all the situation because soo gisee ne xale ñëwoon nañ boole this issue bala ñoo dem si law bala ñoo dem si court bi ministry defuñ dara to be candid they don't do anything defuñ te jëluñ benn jéego loolu just advice on the ground to tell the school just make a press release to kill the situation why is that the school retract lu tax school bi sax mu ne moom defu ko moo lay wan ne loolu bokkul si rules yi quand school fekkee school bi am na right pour xam nga ëppal lu mu dee ëppal rek ni ki dam dee ëppal mu ëppa su ëppee nga retract mooy ne dem nga aaye nga xale yi buñ sol hijab loolu ekkati neen ko dëkk baa ngi bëgg a wax baa ngi bari nga retract nga binda nga ne non ñun yooluñu xale yooyu sax ñoo ko def on their own accord xam nga dafa mel ni kon ku am sens rek dina xam ne kon hijab si boppam pour ñu baan ko si school si bokkul si seen school rules yi so demee si social media platform and many other people who speak respect rules and this and that ñoom tamit defuñ investigation mooy ne demuñ investigate to know whether it's part of the school rules or not so da nga gis ne for example dama la jox exemple boo xamante ni mooy ne su fekkee ne Lamin jël na fi dara rek ma toog ma ne sàcca la kii nii la mel fii after ñu ñëw ñu ne déedéet Lamin jëlu ko kon dafa mel ni man dama yaaga amee Lamin xaat because bi ñu ne Lamin sàcca na dama war a toog investigate first su fekkee ne amelu ma ko xaat daal su fekkee ne amelu ma ko xool wala amuma benn extra ultra motive si Lamin I have to investigate first to know whether it's true or not because xaw ma na Lamin moo ko jël waaye su fekkee ne yow ñëw neen ñu ne xam ma hijab ban rek nga ñëw nga ne respect the rules dafa mel ni yow da nga yaaga amel muslim yi certain kind of a heart because you investigate loo whether it's part of the rule or not because ñu ko dee wax yëpp amuñ xam-xam ndax xam naa leen they don't have no knowledge te most of them are muslims te most of them tey soo leen waxoon jàngal fatiha dangaa rus fatiha bu baax sax dañ ko mënul fii ku fi jàngal bu correct lii doo ko def so lawsuit bi dama gis ne is an example te government daf ko war a jël ak ñaari loxo seriously because dafa jàngal the opposite group den am ñaari group peaceful and the non peaceful group ñoo dee jéem di wane ne ñoom ñoo bëgg Gambia ñooy avisi ñoom they are non peaceful ñoom ñoo xaalis moom fa ku nekk xam ne pour is a business where you consult your demigod ñu jox la tiisa jox la xaalis bëri nga def sa protest after nga ñëw nga jël turi even tisaari sax dañ ko dee jaayaat ñëw taxaw benn place jël ay flag def nii ay fly ay kenn xamul doo ko benn 1 hour doo di am xorom sax nga ñibbiwaat so da nga gis ne ñooñu ñoo nekk di condemn lii nii te Omar Bunya am na lu mu waxoon tam fo ma jéem a retract tuuti waa am na benn lawmaker bu waxoon ne dañ war a ban masjid si government institution si bu ñu waxoon loolu man I was expecting even the other faith to get up and say no they are the majority. And you cannot have, for example, in an institution whereby you have 100 people, you have 2 Christians, you have 98 Muslims. And you say, because of these 2 Christians, like, you should not pray. Even those Christians who say, no, this is illogical. Am I right?
Yes.
Christians don't go to church on Monday. They don't go to church on Tuesday. What we know in Gambia, how they present Christianity to us. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what is in their doctrine. I have no authority on that. But I saw them going on Sundays. They don't go Monday.
Sunday we don't go to work.
Sunday we don't go to work. So they don't go on Monday. And it's not like our prayers. The way they pray and the way we pray is different. For us, we pray 5 times a day in a masjid led by an imam. And this thing must be done. So by looking at the nature of our religion and the nature of our worship, for Christian come like Muslims, they want to ban masjid institutions, school, they want to task all these masjid water institution because ñoko bokk. so su fekkee ñoo ko bokk kon dëkk bi sax ñoo ko bokk. For example soo ne Fajara Christian yaa ngi fa Muslim yaa ngi fa ñoo ko bokk kon waruloo faa tabax juma because ñoo ko bokk. land bi waruloo ko faa tabax so kon da ngaa gis ne soo ko dee expand dafa dem foo xam ne it's not sustainable comme lu kii wax Omar Bojang lu wax it's not sustainable so da ngaa gis ne loolu nag bokk na si lawsuit bi si boppam nekkul ni tam muslim rek la moo jàppale. xam nga tam loolu tam is a misconception dañuy foog ne lii lawsuit bi muslim yi den nii ak nii non lawsuit bi ni su ko code bi di analyse dina ko jël in both religions di nga gis ne léegi sax su fekkee ne amoon na school boo xam ne dafa doon deprive rights from the Christians they also benefit from it so lii nekku ne xanaa de ku xam ne ni moom religion am faalelu ko xam nga rek am na ñoo xam ne moom seen religion faalewuñ ko ñoom daal nu mel rek baax na comme like that's ignorance they don't complain that man jànguma lii but as a Muslim for us we don't tolerate like not learning our religion we don't also tolerate that those who are even complaining man ma gën a daw yaram mooy ne da nga yàlla rek ndeysaan yàlla moo daf dee wone clearly ñu ñoo dee bañ a xool dangaa gis ñoo xam ne ñu dee complain yëpp di wax this is nonsense nekkuñ di muuru ñu ngi def mees def seen xeef def seen nails yi ñu ngi mel ni ñoo dee complain di wax ne respect school rules here and there may la yéen yow sa ndeysaan people have to investigate to know whether even you are a Muslim or not. So if Hijabi was the one saying respect school rules, we would have said ne am nañ problem tuuti. Let's check how this thing. But I guess ñu koy wax yëpp even góor yu ko dee wax yëpp soo leen xoolee they have no respect for religion. They have been insulting the imams here clearly we know that. ñoo nekk di wax naan this is sad, this is whatsoever te xam na leen. So therefore kon ñun loolu jaaxaluñu.
Good.
Waaw jërëjëf.
Thank you, Malik. I am coming to Omar. Malik have given us his take regarding the whole thing of the hijab lawsuit. And also, I want us to look at this because he mentioned most of the people, for example, who said maybe it is unnecessary, or some of would go to an extent of saying that it doesn't make sense. I don't know how they define sense. And also, okay, they might be also relying on the school rule. Some people might even say that, okay, you are the one who goes to their school. If you cannot bear this, go to another school. Some of all those things. I think we need to understand, Omar, the root of all these things. Like, which school are we attending? Who are the ones attending the schools? What actually is expected of school authorities? And what actually is expected from the people who are attending the school, the parents, for example. The reason why I involve school authorities is like the rule. Because for me, I ask. Some prominent people, I ask them questions. If you have a copy of the rules, please, I want to see them. But still, Malik, I have not seen the rule. And I even doubt if those rules are even existing. And still, I am also challenging. If it exists, please, I want to see it. Yes, I really, really want to see it. If it is existed, that a certain rule is there that prohibit, discourage, or deny the wearing of veils, or denying students from praying in the school ground, and those are rules, and it was given to the parents, and they consented on it. Definitely, I really want to see that rule, if it exists. If it doesn't exist, then there's a big problem. Omar, I want you to, you have an experience in the education. You have been there for the past 2 decades. I want to tell us, which school are we attending? Is it our schools? Is it somebody's schools? Which rule are there? If those rules are there, should they be there? I want you to take us to, inshallah, this one.
I mean, thank you very much. And it is important that we understand we have two types of schools here. Generally, we have two types of schools. Generally, these are Islamic schools, religious schools. We have religious schools here, Islamic religious schools, and we have conventional schools. These Islamic religious schools, some are missionary schools, some are private schools, and they are pure theological schools. And their curriculum is based on Islam, it's based on Islamic theology, very clear. And according to history, it's only Muslims that send their children there because these are Islamic based schools. They teach theology,
Islamic theology.
only Islamic stuff. Although they teach other skills along the way.
Now, yeah.
Maybe the language, yeah,
Science is there,
yes, yeah,
mathematics is there, English
of
language
course.
is there.
But the basic, the core foundation of those schools are Islamic religious schools. Then we have conventional schools. These conventional schools are not religious schools. Perhaps they may be overseen by some religious missions, but still they are not registered as religious school. They are conventional schools. And in those conventional schools, they provide conventional subjects, mainly on skills. So it's based on those conventional education. But along the way, the government policy allows people to teach the basic of their religion there. So these are what we call these are integrated curriculum, where the schools are based on conventional education, skills, but also provides religious knowledge to people. Why? Because this country is a religious country. 95% Muslims, almost 96%, approximately 4% Christians. So basically, we can say almost 100% religious state. So in doing so, children can learn those skills in those schools and also can learn their religion. So these are two different types of schools. Now, these conventional schools also are subdivided into two or into even three. You have the mission schools, you have the public schools, you have the private schools. But what is happening right now is divided into two, because now you have private schools. These are purely business schools that are established for people to come and pay and enroll their children. Then you have government and government-aided schools, where most of these missionary schools, when I say missionary schools, I'm not only referring to Christian missionary schools, because even Munazama, is a missionary school. It's Munazama, Kotu.
Yes.
So when I say missionary schools, I'm referring to both religions. So these missionary schools now, they are also government-aided schools, grant-aided schools. Yes, they've been they have been funded by taxpayers' money. So by default, they are all public schools.
Okay.
So they are obliged to follow the regulations of public schools and also the constitution of this country. So they are under the curriculum of the education sector. So as Malik highlighted, curriculum is different from subjects. So in doing so, this is how our education sector is. So these conventional schools are. So in doing so, this is how our education sector is. So these conventional schools are not theological schools. So what we expect there is to teach conventional schools and providing provision, also giving people the opportunity to learn their religion. So these lands that these schools are built have been provided by government free of charge for the purpose of providing education to Gambian people. So they are government lands. By default, they are government schools, and they have to go by government policies. Because when you go back to history a little bit, school was not free in this country, both government and mission schools. People pay school fees to go to school, from primary school to senior secondary school. Although government gives some scholarships, so some outstanding students, likewise mission schools also, but generally schools were paid. People pay to go to school. So when government expanded schools and they brought free education to Gambians from grade 1 to grade 12, definitely, initially, the mission schools were private, but later they could not take it. They could not continue with that scenario, because I cannot go to St. Peter's and pay 10,000, 12,000, while I can go to Newsrat or Gambia Senior Secondary School and pay nothing. So obviously, it was not sustainable for the missions. Of course, they have to accept to be funded, and they have accepted that funding. So right now, all these mission schools are public schools by default, and they have to go by the policies of the government. So this is how. So they are not theological schools. They are not schools that build on purpose of religious teaching, although religious teaching is part of the curriculum. So they are very different from Islamic schools that we have. Because I had people talking about, what about those Islamic schools? Like somebody wants to go to an Islamic school. You are okay? You say, I'm not going to put on hijab. No, these are purely theological schools.
And they are not funded by the government.
They are not funded by the government. Although now government is somehow subventing. Now we have to make things clear. Government is somehow subventing those Islamic schools based reasons or with conditions to inculcate some of these conventional subjects into those schools, so that students from the Arabic sector, Arabic schools also, once they completed, they will not only be equipped in their religion, but they can also go further to have other skills to be able to compete in the job market. So basically, I mean, these are the type of schools that we have in this country.
Thank you so much, Omar. It's important we highlight some of these things so that we let the, how do you call it, cat out of the basket. Things has to be clear. There shouldn't be any room for complacency. There shouldn't be any room for naivety or something. Everything has to be clear. We need to know the truth. We need to know what is happening. We need to know what is at stake here. It's very important. Because because if you look at the argument of some, even people, surprisingly, or sometimes you become very disappointed. The people that you think understand these issues, you look at where their argument is based on, you become disappointed. At some point, you don't even have to reply, because you become, how can a grown man like this, you spend your entire life studying this and still the man you understand? It's sometimes you see some of these people arguing. I talked to someone. But if you go to court, you cannot break this as an argument. You cannot break this argument on the legal test. You cannot do this because these are very weak. You know it. And you're not also talking to a layman. So some of these things, I don't know. But and I think we have to understand this. Move to another topic. Just summarize it. I will give you 4 minutes. Yeah.
Dina Karambolo, Muslim Karola, Muslim Dina Karambo, government Arabic Islamic schools. Will be
Jamal Biji, ibe kafol le ko dulmu fansum private leti, will be Karan sifa flan jam ngam so wolem pour mo ya understand wolem tuwa karanti, wolem karon ya jibe mu different wolem karanti. But pour mo sa understand tuwa karambon. Wolem ni subject dul ka karandami tuwa kangola. Ko ni yaji be subject do sa ka mulum bagen. But ñin dol wolem tubaab karam da ñin tubaab karambun lo fanan e be talarin nun talada sabalto man sa kunda la karambun so le milan ko public school le mission lo fanan ila karam nin ko mission lo ja wolem dina ka fol min nade karambun lo min siate ko na christiano le to le karambun lo min siate ko na christiano le to le karambun siada bare muslima dina ka fol fanan na milan ko min ga ko munazzama African Muslim Agency comme direct aid mu dina karamul bare fanale karamul so o karamul bi mi an ko private school lem wala mole wulta ayalo business o kam comme mu karamulo mole naje kajo ni aji be wotmo man sekunda joro ka kijele ani mission school ani bare ni aji be man sekunda wotmo aka min charge abika siano bare joro ka kijele di dara mission school wala fanan ka siano man sekunda demanding bare joro bi jele private school wolde taka siyanu bag jamaja fentiol le ke dimol samban wodo so e kaje le ko okay man sakunda fana to ka huduma ka scholarship o jole dile no hada ko karamu ka jo nyaanya bara ka scholarship o dile mission school fana ka scholarship o dol dile bar jama ka joro lek so mission school tarta non ka balu minna wolem zafu nyin karamul be ka balu minna surtout mission school anim private school wolem dinno ka min jo e ka tical jo to o nyama man sakunda tata fo nyato inara ko karam mu nyantole te moje makala fi dimol krande foare akama man sakunda e police nati ko free education mote karam mo jola kabri ko free education nak man sakunda ya dunda ala karam mo len karam mo min yalan ko mission karam mo len and private ay bule fambul
ntata fo ñato bawo masa kunda karambungul bika jo karambun jo kuma sta kaser di mojama ya kuma ski dingol bonni wo dina mission karambungol to minana ko mission lewlo e gesama masa kunda karambungol because fem bika jo atata fo ñato ni mission school Christian mission school yaje go definitely dinno be bokala karambungol yuta sustain no because karambungol balundi non karambun jol brata ni dinno bika siya bika ta karambungol ita sustain no hali private school bi minana ko fan i sawunde kata man sakunda kandu dinnol be kata karamundo ka kodi jawojo i kata man sakunda karammo kabri o kede nyim private school dula ni nyim mission school be nata dum man sakunda la koto man sakunda ka marake la karambulu kala titale jo ka mare la karambula oto kabri o kede don sa kam de be kata public school te be kata jamala karamundo nim ko jamala karamu wolem ndol min ka namo jon tollenga ndolle ka wo karambulu balu min tolo ndol muslimol ni kristano ndol be so e kaje ko kenol fo min ditela ñimu man sakunda kenol di mi alan ko ma wafile me swala jama biji ya dila kule kam adu nyanta wadda marka wala karandirote so man sakunda nata ke ma koy wala na fa hanisa man sakunda nin de marka fo de ka classroom lo ka yin bar hanisa karandulo karamburu la tamanduro ya bula nyin ka fo lebulu bari ila tamanduro ya bula nyin ka fo bulu nya abe man sakunda loi bala ko education policy dia ko ya mo be ka tama wala wala ne baale ko ka teacher jo nyami nga be mu jori nyakilne e ka principal jo nyama be mu jo nyakilne e be ka exam kilon leke e be ka syllabus kilon leke kan do man sakunda la marta wol be o do lamin baale ko nyin karamun sifa fulo lebe kene o do nyin karamun mi yana ngaro do dino da madam makanjam wala muslima karamun to nyaaram christian le karamun lole bare ma o karamun lo pour ka dino karande kan do definitely ni ko go bo karanda pour ka dino karande ma fa mo tita e barate sian bare be ka mecho le kara nin kuldul baro kono fara man sakunda ya jibe bawo nim banku mu dina karambo dina bankole muslimolu keme keme tan kono toni woro mbadin christian keme keme nani wara min sutata woro nim banku mu dina karamole inata police fara ndinde wala minata je ko to nyinu be itata karambo do nyin karamol kono inantere dino karanola ya syllabus landi muslima islamic syllabus ngolon ne ngal ne ko christianity fana ka fa si ari aka karambungol tole ngolon ne but budon fo syllabus bi fati baraka karandirije oto man sakunda yo be proverbe wala ni karambungol dina karambungol la nyin doldi ndon metti karambungol mi yalan ko man sakunda dina karambu dina londo dundije nyin dina fulol be kaje ko mo sila dino karano lamen
baraka baka ñu ko mata
You
want to comment more, Malik, on this?
No,
or we go to another topic?
Yeah.
Fine. Then, okay. So now we come down to the other topic. Ngamira jindlan declared. And in the moment na ngajoko tonya. Me ananka complain. Some more people will understand why do we complain that our children, if they want to wear their hijab, if they want to pray, they should be allowed to pray. They should be allowed to wear their veils. This is because this is the reason. The schools that they are attending is more like a government school. The land that the schools are built, we are given by government. Still, there's government land. They are given on purpose. And any day that purpose is defeated, the government has right to take it. I don't know whether people understand this. The lands were given to them based on purpose. When any time that purpose is defeated, the government can take it. And also, the school that they are attending, it is being funded by the taxpayers' money. Those taxpayers, if you gauge 95 plus or 95.7% of those taxpayers are Muslims. And then the subjects that are being taught in these schools are not Christian theology subjects. These are conventional subjects, just like if you go to any other conventional school or any other public schools. So the children are attending these schools, and this school, the moment they are being funded by the government taxpayers, government their funds, we expect that they will follow the education policy of the country. And that education policy of the country should not be in contravene or should not contradict the constitution of this country. And then the main constitution of this country provides each and every one of us to practice or be given chance to practice our religion just like how our religions dictate. let's say, for example, if I am a Muslim, for example, I'm a female student, I go to that's one of those schools. I don't want to wear hijab. I don't want to pray. Nobody will force me to pray. Should we say that, okay, they have to pray by force? No. But if Fatu and Lamin, Mariam and Bubakar, they said, we want to pray, obviously they should be given chance to pray. They are in the lands that belongs to their country. They are in the structures, the schools that are funded by their monies. They have the monies of their fathers and their parents. So they must be accorded with such opportunity to practice at least within 5 minutes to pray. Or to wear their veil that has nothing to do with the uniform. That has nothing to do with smartness. That has nothing to do with whether you will understand or you do not understand. It has nothing to do with it. So we believe that such opportunities should be accorded to these young children. This is basically our argument. And then, even if there are school rules that clearly deny these people to wear their hijabs, I think it has to be challenged. Why are you bringing something that actually contradicts the fundamental laws of this country? It has to be. But unfortunately, like I said before, I challenge and still I don't see anywhere. If you have those rules, bring it forward. Let's just check. And if, for example, because they were saying that before you go to school, you sign a code of contract, blah, blah, with the school, let's just see that code of contract. Let us see it. Because I believe that every genuine Muslim parents of this country, you see a school rule that clearly says that your child is not going to wear hijab. Your child is not permitted to pray here. I will look at the student parents who are going to still write their consent on these rules and still send their children. And then even if they do and later they complain, we will still caution them. You've seen everything. Why did you send them from the first place before we do anything? But this area has to be actually understood. Now we go to the issue of right, protections of right. We know the Gambia has a constitution, and that constitution we believe have provided each and every citizens the rights to their beliefs, the right to their religion, the right to their opinion, the right to speech, the right to associate, the right to belong. Constitution provide all of this. And then if you look at the constitution as well, something is very amazing there. At the beginning, you see in the name of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the name of Allah, in the name of God. I think it is there. If you checked it, you will see it there. It has a meaning. When you open a constitution, you see something like this. It will tell you something, what type of country this country is. And you also understand that the Gambia, even the other international laws that the Gambia is part of, ratified, and also a signatory to, like the African Charter of Humans and People Rights, which is also called Banjul Charter. Section 8, you see this there. Article 8, you see this there. And then you also look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. You see something like this there. You also come down to International Covenant for Civil and Political Rights. You see also this there. In 1966. You also see a Universal Declaration. Even this one, maybe, I don't know where Gambia isn't. This one was, it happened in Paris in 1981. It was drafted by Muslim scholars and jurists from different parts of the world. They have what they call Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Islam in 1981. If you go there, you see freedom of religion, freedom of belonging, freedom. You see all of these things. These are somehow similar. You go to an OIC, which Gambia is part of. In 1990, they have what they call Cairo Declaration of Human Rights in Islam. You go there, you see the same provisions as well. So the Constitution of the Gambia, like I said, in 1997 to 2009 reverse version. You also see another, when it comes to tolerance, giving people chance for people to live with diversity, with respect for diversity, freedom. We call it tolerance. 1995, UNESCO has what they call Universal Declaration on Principle of Tolerance. If you look at Article 1, it gives you a very broad definition of tolerance. When we have all of this in place, we are still arguing on giving protection of rights. People are giving deaf ears to this document. They are giving blind eye to this document. Even if it is not like the laws that we have, our respect should be according to these laws. So I want us to look at how important it is, especially the government role in protecting people's right, especially their religious right. Omar.
Thank
Malik,
you
I
very
will come to
much.
you.
I mean, I think we may be perceived as novice in law, but the people, the lawyers who prepare this suit, who are behind this suit, they're equally educated like others who are ranting outside. And the constitution of the Gambia is not written in Chinese or Japanese. It's very clear English language. We are not the custodian to interpret. It's the High Court, and definitely everyone is anticipating the interpretation of the courts. And the other declarations that also you mentioned, I listed all of them, but I will not go over them because you've said them. They all embedded the same issue of people having right to belong to a religion and manifest it. So as far as the face value is concerned, the self-explanatory statements on our constitution and other areas are concerned, definitely you can conclude that this is a very strong case. Even the permanent secretary, when he was appealing for an outside court negotiation, he quoted, sections of the constitution provisions. So which clearly states that even the permanent secretary, definitely, what we expected from him, this is exactly, he knows exactly what the law says. And he's talking about outside negotiation. Like the whole issue here, I think there's a failure of system here. It is unfortunate that a religious country like the Gambia, almost 100% religious people, are arguing on something that is embedded in their scriptures. It is very unfortunate. We should not have reached where we reach today if all stakeholders perform their duties. Most importantly, the custodian of education in this country, that is the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. You see, such issues cannot be solved on gentleman agreement because this has been going for so long. It is not a new thing. And as we go, the problem is accumulating. The problem is growing. I think this should have been laid to rest long time ago by going through the education policy, by going through the constitution of this land to come up with an amicable solution to this. But now we have reached the last result, that this is the last step that one can do, is to go to the court for redress. And as I said, this is an eye opener. It is important for all the stakeholders to understand that the dynamics are changing. Our demographics are changing. And this is where I challenge our social scientists. What have they been doing? Because they should have focused this, that people's understanding are changing, people's attachment to religion and other cultures are changing. They should be able to focus, to be able to predict what would happen if certain measures are not taken place. So there's a failure in the system. This is why we reach this state. And I think this would help all, not only Muslims, but Muslims and Christians. The system needs to put something that is sustainable. Because if you bring a law that is not sustainable, it might create problem for you. We've seen very civilized acts from these young children and their parents. They've been offended. They think their rights have been violated. Despite the number, they say to go to the court civilizedly and launch their complaint. And I think it has taught all of us a very, very strong lesson where to go to redress for complaints. That we should not go to the streets to vandalize. We should not insult people. Because I think the attempts, negotiations, and the arrangements that we have done for almost 2 decades has failed. Sure. Definitely it failed. Otherwise, today we should not have been talking about this issue now. So it is a very good case, and it is a case that is not against a religious party or a religious society, but it's a case that even all the religious lovers, all the adherents to their religions will say, okay, this is very good, because this will pave a way where all persons in this country, their religious values will be respected either privately or publicly. Being a Muslim or a Christian, your religious rights must be respected.
and you will be given the space and peace to practice it as dictated by your religion. My brother, there is nothing that is more beautiful than this. This is where we can have sustainable peace. But otherwise, if you want to manipulate this, or you want to softly do things just to calm down the situation temporarily, no, it will come again, and it will come again strongly. And it will be a recipe of disaster. So this is a case that will be a barrier for eventualities that might not be controlled in this country. Because definitely many people are not happy. And their rights, if their rights continue to be violated, definitely it might go out of hand. So, I mean, this is a very good experience. And we appeal to all Gambians that this is not a problem between a religion and a religion. This is a problem of people trying to restore their rights. And anybody can do that. And I'm telling you that even if the non-Muslims' rights have been violated, definitely we as Muslims should stand for them. And as we do, we stand for them. So this is not the problem between Muslims and Christians. This is between problem with some individuals and some institutions. And one of these institutions is a pure public institution. So that has to be understood. We don't want division. We want to be coexisted. But we want to be coexisted through principles, through honesty, based on mutual respect and our doctrines.
Thank you. Malik, I will come to you. We're talking about rights, and I'm going to give you freedom. We know there is no absolute freedom anywhere. It never existed. It never existed. And what people say is yours, I don't know. It never existed. It doesn't exist anywhere. Just like I remember one of our Sheikh Mola Venture at TRRC, he was asked, the constitution say mobe bula inyanda menkila yaki. I remember he's very wise. He remained silent for some seconds and says, "What a dollar." So it was very funny at that time, but later I thought of it and I was like, this is the truth. It was like, what a dollar. There is no place where people are left to do anything that they want. It never existed. That's not that. Han alim wulo kono fonkol bokoke. Beyangol bokake. Han beyangolo. Liye dabal raje kulle be jebiya ko ketara ko be dabal ko lek. Han menamelo sobda libe tawle ka je ka round no bole de. They follow each other. So if I get like there is nothing like absolute freedom. Anywhere people are, freedoms are somehow restricted. Like what they say, where your right stops, that where someone's right begins. So no matter how free you are, certain things you can never do that. So we want to promote this responsible freedom. And when we talk about responsible freedom, this is absolutely part of it. Give me a freedom to practice my religion. That has nothing to do with you. I want to cover my head. Give me the chance. Let me do it. What problem would it bring you? What problem would it bring you? Nothing. Give me a chance. Let me pray. It has nothing to do with you. If you want to be a Christian, if you want to be a Muslim, if you don't even be none of this, who cares? So, but we have to encourage responsible freedom. People are free, but freedom, absolute freedom, doesn't exist anywhere. Any human society you go, there are things that you are restricted not to do. So I want you to emphasize on this because we want to promote this. What is your take on this? Responsible freedom.
Jërëjëf Lamin ak Omar ñu ko santal bu baax si ñëwam bi moom su fi nekkutoon nag programme bi moom dafa nekk skeletal programme waaye di nga gis ne comme man li ma bëgg a wax rek mooy freedom sa soo ko xoolee yàlla daf ñu jox freedom waaye joxuñu absolute freedom from God. Like yaa gis ne yàlla jox ñu right to decide which religion you want to be. Though sax amuloo right pour dem si benn religion suñ ko xoolee in another perspective. Waaye danga gis ne sa mind bi has the right to be in any religion. Tey nga bëgg a dem Serekunda, ëllëg nga bëgg a dem Westfield, soo neexee nga soo loolu neex nga lekka, but dafa am some limitation yoo xamante ni loolu la jox. Léegi nag suñu waxee ne freedom of expression, something like that, dafa mel ni yow da nga gis man fa laa bëggoon a ñëwee sax. Man lu ma wax rek mooy dinaa laal lu bëri si
You don't have much time.
the CPA. Yeah, I don't have much, but I'll make it fast.
Just like, okay, let's say
5 minutes. Yeah, that's okay. I can able to talk about just. I will talk about the motives, like what is the motive of now, apart from talking from the constitution, comme le on bojo wa constitution bi am na ñoo xam ne nii ñoo dee wax ne ñoo ko war a interpret. Those are English language la. Luñ ko ñu ko binda ay ordinary nit leen. Soo ko riidee lu mu wax rek loolu la. Because dafa fekk ne rek comme nit ki su waree nekk in the court daf dee bëgg a xool fault in you to overturn things, or lawyer yi lu ñu def mooy dañ dey use some potholes in the constitution turn ko against loolu moo nekk foofu noonu, because any constitution boo gis ne nit moo ko defar rek dafa am mistakes, so bunta yooyu ñoom dañ ko dee gis waaye yow yenn saa when you are outside doo ko dee mën a gis ñoom bunta yoo xam ne mistakes yi fa la constitution bi nekk yow loolu lañ dee xool twist ko ñu mën a win case bi waaye nekku ne comme su ma la waxee bul dem school loolu xam nga loolu dafa clair bul dem school de waaye dina wax ne non ban school nga wax xam nga di isi ay yeneen wax ba nga xam ne ni nga change the whole scenario benn nit ki sax mu xaw a am certain amount of right foofu noonu waaye lu mu bëgg mooy the motive. What is the motive of Child Protection Alliance? Lan mooy seen liggéey ndax seen liggéey moo nekk to rip off our culture, because soo ko xoolee dañoo wax ne sa xale warloo ko am na right pour bañ, am na right warloo ko yónni si lii, comme dafa am culture ak tradition boo xam ne moo nekk in Gambia, in Africa and in Gambia, loo xam ne mooy tax xale yi yaru te loolu lañ shapé xale yi ba nga xamante ni dinañ xam seen responsibility ak seen right, because right of xale moom doo ko wax parent moom xam ne daf ko jox mu lekka, daf ko jox mu naan, daf ko jox yëre, daf ko yóbbu lopitaan, loolu doo ko wax parent, waaye responsibility nu nga ko war a yaree yow nga ñëw nga ne yaa ko wax. So dafa mel ni ñoom seen motive Child Protection Alliance nekkuñ fi pour lu ko dis girls su fekkoon Child Protection Alliance is functioning how no like they are in the Gambia, so these are the problems. This is why we have problem today. If they were functioning, they would have got up first and call these girls and ask them question, take up the case themselves and push it and tell them they have the right or whatsoever to do this. ñu ñëw si women's right ñoom tam dafi ñëw rek FGM rek women right yëpp FGM la loolu tam culture la ñëw attaque ak islam. So motive bi lay wax rek comme I'm questioning what is the motive. I don't say this is their motive, but I'm putting a question mark. What is the motive? Your FGM rek, which is a law that FGM bi try nga bañ def ko law bañ ne ko ban against people's will. Imagine against people will. Léegi yow loolu rek nga fi nekkee soo ñëwee nga xool in a form of candidates nga gis 20 candidates 2 women nga south nga ne there should have been 15 or whatsoever women. So yow what is the motive? Is it to generally ngeen protect rights of women wala dafa am section boo leen ko dee peeg ngeen narrow ko down? moo tax ma ne la dañ dee fàtte moo tax ma ne the policy makers they fail comme ni ma ko waxee is true. dañ dee fàtte to inculcate religion. daf dee mel ni sax suñ ko fa dugalee loolu nekkul civilization. dafa mel ni for example dañ dee ragal pour dugal ko fa te man loolu laa gis because of even bu ñu doon wax affaire secularism bi mun naa remember waxoon naa leen ne the issue of the secularism it should be frowned by both faith. waaye da nga gis ne am na benn faith boo xam ne moom dina kontaan ñu def ko fa so that ñi bu ñu am doole. fekk it's not about that, it's about our religious principles du allow loolu noonu. so soo ñëwee waat si activistes yi ñoo xam ne dañ fi nekk human right ki am na right pour saaga président est-ce que na taxaw saaga président bi human right activiste jóg mu ne am na right pour saaga pour wax his mind. freedom of expression, association, ak nga am tamit assembly, freedom of nga am protest pour nga protest tamit peaceful protest ni nga ko dee ooyee ñoo xam but none of the protests can be peaceful. soo génnee si biti kay di dox activistes ñu ngi fi I don't know, they call them sometimes dalasivis. Yeah, because of lan la gars yi nekk fii la mooy seen liggéey si réew mi activiste waaw ñoom la mooy seen liggéey ndax kenn ko xam ne dafa saaga state mais saaga na président dafa undermine the peace of the country ñu téye ko nga ne non dañ ko war a bàyyi because of kooku dafa am right pour wax pour mu génna wala pour mu protest soo bëggee protest ñu joxuñ la permit sax loolu talk of the media waaw ñen waaw jaruñu laajte permission suñu bëggee génn dañoo génna waaye tamit xale yi tamit ñu ñëw ñu laajte tamit seen aha through the constitution activists yoo war a jóg fight right of people dafa mel dañ dee pick certain right to fight and certain right not to fight man xam nga ban right la ñoo fight so I don't think so they are here to fight right they here comme li ñu dee wax rek affaire activisme moom is a business kenn du nekk si liggéey boo xamante ni duñ la fay di no jox xaalis no jox dara ngay si lu ngay nekka ba yow nga dee yaa nga war a am jabar yaa nga war a am doom noo ko dundale so you foog nga make noise ñu gis la ñu jox la certificate tegal la certificate yi yëpp nekku da nga ko jàng rek just recognition la so our policy makers also dañ war a bàyyi xel ñu xam ne we are in a country where it's a religious country time moom a tight I also want to talk about also even people are making like noise also dañ ko wax even though in the state house the masjid is there dañ ko war a tas even though maa ngi wax even though if there was a Christian president dafa war a bàyyi masjid bi masjid bi we pray 5 times a day loolu yoram nekku si so soo ñëwee in Methodist bu nekk primary school in Makati foofu noonu dañ dee ay xale buñ julli dañ dee génne Islamic studies si lifin bi si timetable bi on Friday ñu wax gars yi ustaas bi da nga dajale gars yi nii rek nga waaree tuuti nga loolu mooy the highest form of intolerance ba pare dañoo téye xale yi ñu téye waat leen studies because they always know ne xale yi suñu jógee with 1 3 dañoo dem daara so ñoo ñëw téye leen studies ba 4 ba 5 nga gis nañu soo demee kër moom ngoon la fooy dem daara da nga am teel a nelaw so all those things we know these things we are not stupid we know this very well daa fekk ne comme because of jarul wax yu bari am na yeneen jarul wax yeneen you can just address it in another way ba pare dafa mun a am so am na lu bari lu ma bëgg a wax but time has tied nañu so therefore thank you Lamin inshallah
thank you so much Omar Bojang and Malik ko nga fo nyame akumata ba ka purum hanamadiya nyanto because nkamwe jama masakunda ni molla hadamadiya nyanto ikamwe talelto radio to dal betu abatata la fola boya commission on londe mi alon ko atla do ko movement wala ko halmadi wala nyanto krosi kala ko nyanto tanka kila nyanko la ko bula kabula halmadi wala nyanto la ko no men keda human right commission anon keje la jama comme Omar ya fanyame nin ko bembe de nyina e kadiyam ka diyamo ce na manyina kele ka fa manyina ka e ka molu hakilo bulandi ko la mol nyanda men kala pour ka halmadi wala nyanto tanka anu halmadi wala nyanto fenjama le beje me an ka halmadi wala nyanto ko no fenjama jama le beje men abe ko men kumata wala muharramadi wala abe lala menna kuma la dina ko prayo ayo nyanto so kumata ba so but we are surprised very much astonished that mbaka wasifa je kadia when issues like this happen but we are not surprised we know why certain things ko men for ko do be mbaka for but we know why those people are silent ngalon and itolo final men beje the reason why they are silent we know it because make it a Malik just like what you said these people ila human right they have their own interpretation and they have their own areas where they intervene. They don't intervene everywhere. This right, human right, they come for the more better intended. At some point, you and I are not part of it. Even brutal, nobody will talk. Yes, especially when we stand for religion. Never talk because they don't want to sound disobedient to their masters, to their donors. When I say their masters, I'm talking about their donors. Those are the ones who control them. You know, Malik. Ning nunto joyame mbekeri nunjang. Ninga murtana. As long as they will remain in their position, they will allow it to happen. Billahi wallahi ta'ala. They will allow it to happen. They will not do anything. As long as ila manbote caution no, they will allow it to happen. So finally, mbediamo kumfaradama wala nyintuko. Thursday, that will be the first time the hearing will be at the court, High Court, and then ngaje ko molbe mol encourage kam purita court ya mabe nda fambe mol encourage bitum fombe daje fombe time was molo but I will be very pleased ni mol tarita court ni attend but memem fola wala nyituko ntolmu misili mol leti anu mu kayra mol leti anu be banko kam banko men ko kayro da mala ben sambala nyato momo bitaje salo bitaje nyame ise hakilotu ikana fitna ku kono je ise hakilotu ikana fenke je membe kala fitnot because right now ali yalo ngal malo mol better side me anko be batu kanyu lungola ila fale problem create they just want to be vindicated ila fa ya foko nganyu mol lonten they are just waiting ibal provoke la dole from they will be part of the crowd not because of they came to support you they will be part of a crowd if willing the profit no will so that they will have point to talk and some of them new CSOs e jamal beje be sire la peno be laren they want to start writing proposals. So when you create problem, they will write proposal. They will start their only workshop or any talk or radio. Just they are waiting. Even this case, they are just like entrepreneurs. Any problem, they have opportunity. Right now, they are sitting down. They were thinking, to talk about some of these issues. So I can chance dila. Nantara code alisi ali sabari ali lamoro ke kairo kono. Nim sujoro nada je manna je o alni doko ka nyama alni janjang. Alkana so moal provoke ba fulalen. ayo men laban lambolo fulay wa ibadur rahman alladhina yamshuna ala al-ardi hawna wa idha khatabahum al-jahiluna qalu salama ñine mu letarote men dilala ala la jon kendola ñine foy ko yamshuna ala al-ardi hawna inin kunfa la ka tamasilo kan wa idha khatabahum al-jahil ibinaje bal provoke la ibe ku kala men be fitno wulinda dal kane danko wa idha khatabahum al-jahilun lombalolu kala mutabalo ni diya mutay la fakal provoke الكايرا كمو فولا تمالي على كم فنات الله هاجون الودم ماموتا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما الكنا سون يافوكو nganyina foja imunjinati andi fele yake ba ngini kanada and they are going to make sure that be fengo bele kala puri aja yal kamfani no nyamal kana son al kum famuta ale kayro sabatendi muslima yan to lontani walla nim fota jambe na bro rasul tentula baake mbal jeyla Umar Anim Malik. Thank you very much for being here with us, and thank you Alfala and our technicians Khalid Lalin Jadama, Adama Sow, and everybody, me alonko they contributed to this. Mbafala tonya ala baraka baki. Men be la moiro la banta, men be jibero fana ke kam Facebook and la kotongo mbafala le ala baraka baki. Nyimu special edition nga men na fena. Numbela fana. Nimo to support Keno. Some of these issues are kumada punka kachala baki. Mumo we dauda, if you can support, please you can support us to make sure that we enlighten people. Me ofana nyin nabulu baki. Limfara jam. Thank you very much, Omar and Malik. Thank you, Al-Falah. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept this from us and to also reward you for listening and learning from us. And also, if you have made any mistake, please do not be hesitant. Call us and rectify us. Whatever we said here and it's truth, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever mistake we make here is from us and the shaitan. And we ask Allah to forgive us. Allahumma la tu'akhidna in nasina aw akhtana. On that note, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.